video game, dudes. Talk to me.
Alright, gather round, digital history enthusiasts. Today, we're not just talking about pixels and polygons. We're diving into something far more significant, the video game console wars. This wasn't just about which machine played better graphics. It was about identity, technological innovation, groundbreaking marketing, and ultimately shaping global culture as we know it. Think about it. Sega boldly declaring Genesis does, Sony taking a massive gamble on the CD-ROM, and Microsoft, the American tech giant, storming the living room. These weren't just product launches, they were cultural clashes. So grab your nostalgia goggles because the Fit Historian is here to break down the epic saga of the console wars.
3, 2, 1, fight!
Our story begins in the primordial soup of the late 1970s and early 1980s. With the first real skirmishes in the home console market, pioneers like the Magnavox Odyssey and most famously the Atari 2600 laid the groundwork. Atari, with its iconic joystick and a library of arcade hits, became a household name. But this early dominance wouldn't last. The infamous video game crash of 1983 hit like a rogue asteroid. Oversaturation of the market, a flood of low-quality games, who here remembers the ET game, and a general loss of consumer trust led to a massive industry-wide collapse. It looked like the dream of home video games might be over before it truly even began. If you'd like to dive deeper into Atari's history or into the controversy surrounding Atari's ET game, I have videos on both topics that you should check out after this video. I'll make sure to link them below. But from the ashes rose a phoenix, or rather a red and white box. The Nintendo Entertainment System, or Famicom as it was known in Japan. Nintendo, with its meticulous Nintendo seal of quality, enforced stricter standards for game development, rebuilding consumer confidence. And then there were the games. Ho buddy, the games. Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, franchises that would define generations of gamers. Coupled with innovative peripherals like the Zapper light gun, I'm looking at you, Duck Hunt, and the, let's just say, ambitious Power Glove. Nintendo wasn't just selling a console, they were selling an experience. They didn't just revive the industry, they practically redefined it. But the king wouldn't reign unchallenged forever. In the late 1980s and early 90s, a challenger emerged from the land of blue skies and speedy hedgehogs.
Why can't it be more like that nice boy Mario? Oh! Little brat!
Sonic the Hedgehog, now included when you buy a Genesis system.
Sega with their Genesis, or Mega Drive in some regions, this era was the dawn of the 16-bit war, a fierce battle fought with cutting-edge tech and aggressive marketing. Sega positioned the Genesis as the cooler, edgier alternative to Nintendo, boasting blast processing for faster gameplay, and a library leaning towards sports titles and more mature content. Their marketing was legendary, directly taking shots at Nintendo with the iconic slogan, "Genesis does what Nintendon't."
Genesis does.
16-bit arcade graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
16-bit sports action.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis does.
Get Joe Montana free, Pat Riley free, Buster Douglas free, Super Monaco GP free, or Collins free.
Genesis does.
What Nintendon't.
And then there was the mascot war. The cheerful, all-American plumber Mario versus the rebellious, super-fast Sonic the Hedgehog. These contrasting brand identities perfectly encapsulated the battle for living room supremacy. It was a glorious time of innovation and fierce competition, pushing both companies to their creative limits. Then came the mid to late 90s, and the landscape shifted dramatically with the arrival of a new player, Sony. After a failed partnership with Nintendo to develop a CD-ROM add-on, Sony decided to go it alone with the PlayStation. This was a game changer, literally. The PlayStation embraced the CD-ROM format, which offered significantly cheaper manufacturing costs and vastly superior storage capacity compared to cartridges. This meant bigger, more complex games with enhanced graphics and sound. The PlayStation also ushered in an era of more cinematic and edgier content, attracting an older audience with groundbreaking titles like Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, and Resident Evil. Sony wasn't just competing, they were redefining what a video game console could be. The dawn of the new millennium saw another major contender enter the ring, Microsoft with the Xbox. Wielding American muscle and a killer app in the form of Halo, the Xbox aimed to carve out its own slice of the market. Meanwhile, the PlayStation 2 became a cultural phenomenon, ultimately becoming the best-selling console of all time, leveraging its massive game library and DVD playback capabilities. Nintendo, while still a force, took a different pace with the GameCube, offering strong first-party titles but struggling to capture the broader market share of its rivals. However, Nintendo was quietly laying the groundwork for a future reinvention. The mid to late 2000s brought another fascinating chapter with the battle between the Nintendo Wii, the Xbox 360, and the PlayStation 3. Nintendo surprised everyone with the Wii's focus on motion controls and attracting a massive casual audience. The Xbox 360 gained an early lead and established the dominance of Xbox Live and online multiplayer. The PlayStation 3 had a slower start, facing hardware challenges and a higher price point, but eventually recovered with a strong lineup of exclusive titles and the Blu-ray advantage. This era highlighted the diverse approaches companies could take to win over consumers. Which brings us to the modern era. The PlayStation 4 largely dominated its generation with a developer-friendly design and a strong focus on exclusive games. However, Microsoft has come back strong with the Xbox One, and now the Xbox Series XS, emphasizing services like Game Pass and making significant acquisitions like Bethesda and Activision, signaling a shift in strategy. Meanwhile, Nintendo continues to play the wild card with the hybrid Switch, proving that innovation and unique experiences can still carve out a massive audience. Looking back at these console wars, it's clear they were about more than just technical specs. They shaped fan culture, created fierce loyalties, and some pretty intense online arguments, and drove innovation in marketing and game development. The battles between mascots, the debates over graphics, the killer apps that defined each generation, these moments are etched in gaming history. And while we still talk about console wars today, the landscape is arguably more nuanced. The rise of cross-play digital distribution and subscription services is blurring the lines between platforms. It's less about exclusive hardware and more about accessing the games you want wherever you want. So as we power down our historical analysis, it's clear that what started as a technological rivalry became a battle for our hearts, our wallets, and ultimately, our living rooms. Now, I want to hear from you. What era of the console wars did you grow up in? What were your allegiances? And more importantly, what gaming history deep dive should we tackle next? Let me know in the comments below. Your nostalgia fuels my historical curiosity. I'll go ahead and start the conversation with my answers pinned in the comments. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming and historical adventures. And as always, keep gaming and stay curious. Bye!